Hello, how are you? I hope you're good. I had different videos scheduled for you guys, but I have accidentally, obviously, I don't know why I said accidentally, I have lost my SD card that those videos were filmed on, and I am really not a fan of refilming videos, and one of them was a vlog, which cannot be recreated. So we're doing something different. So yeah, we're gonna do two things today. One of them is reacting to my previous 5-star predictions, and I'm really banking here on the fact that I would have read most of them by now, which from what I can vaguely remember, my memory is notoriously bad. I think I have most of them. Some of them. And then also we're gonna be setting new 5-star predictions because I think we are overdue a list. If I remember correctly, my previous 5-star prediction video was actually first chapter challenge, which I'm also overdue, probably gonna do another one soon, where I predict the 5 stars and then read the first chapter and see if I still think it's gonna be 5 stars. So it'll be interesting seeing my reasoning and then what actually ended up being the rating of the book or what happened to them. So I'm quite excited. I purposefully did not watch it before filming this, so it's gonna be nice and interesting for myself as well. I think it was probably 2020 or something, maybe 19 when I did that video. No, that can't be that long. Fun. Or I hope so. Just before we get started though, I do want to mention today's sponsor, which is Book of the Month. Book of the Month is a US-based book subscription box. So if you're from US, you might be interested in this. They curate a list of 5 to 7 exciting new titles that you can then pick one from. They've just increased the range, so normally it was always 5, now it can be between 5 and 7, so more choices. My favorite take on this is that it really narrows down the time that you need to do your own research, and then you can just have a selection always presented to you, and then you pick one that tickles your fancy. If you do decide that you want to skip a month, it's also very easy to do. And on top of that, they also have an add-on feature where you can add more books to your order that arrive together. If you are interested in what type of titles they offer, these were the 7 titles that were given for the March selection. First, we have The Cartographers by Peng Shepherd, and that's a fantasy mystery thriller. A contemporary romance novel called Dating Dr. Dill by Nisha Sharma. A mystery thriller called The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. Another mystery thriller, The Book of Cold Cases by Simone James. Contemporary fiction, The Unsinkable Greta James by Jennifer Smith. A true crime book, Tell Me Everything by Erica Cruz. And a mystery thriller called The Verifiers by Enchained Peck. And that is a lot of options. I think if I had to pick one, I would go with this. It really piqued my interest. Sounds amazing. If you do want to try it out, I will link them down below in the description bar, and you can use my code bookroast and get your first book for only $9.99. Thank you so very much to Book of the Month for continuously working with me. I'm always excited to get these books. And yeah, let's continue with the video. I'm gonna scooch so I can put the video here.
Oh, how are you? I hope you're good.
So I'm going to skip to the part where I'm actually reading these books, and I want to listen to my thoughts and see if they were actually reflective of what happened.
Might as well start with autobiography and we'll see how it goes. Sometimes you need something light and fluffy, high school type of movie that's on Netflix.
Okay, this book, I think I may have on hold. I believe I originally placed this. I think there were a lot of I don't remember my own thing.
Hard cat.
Okay, I think I actually picked books that I thought maybe could be 4 or 5 stars, and then read to see if they would bump up to 4. I don't know. But apparently, according to this, it looks like it would have been in the 4. And if I remember correctly, it gone down. I can review that later, but I'm not gonna linger on this one because I have not read it, so I can't really listen to this, but I do remember it definitely went down in my expectations, and actually because of that, I think it's why I've not read it yet.
I feel like 4 stars is gonna be like best case scenario for this, but it's possible for it to be 3. Okay. Oh, sorry, sis. You guys, did you see this?
Kings of the Wild
is writing style so far. I know it's been 6 pages, but I'm already invested. Overall, it was very like sarcastic. I don't know how to explain the writing style. It's kind of like a tired old man, but still very sassy. I am very intrigued, and I think I'm gonna keep it at 5 stars for a prediction because I really enjoy the writing style. I'm already intrigued. I'm only a little bit into this, but I think I will like it, especially considering that both me and Logan are really into D&D currently. And
Okay, so Kings of the Wild. I stand by my opinion there because the beginning of it was hands down 5 stars, one of the best beginnings I've ever read. It immediately drew me in. I immediately cared for the characters. I thought it's gonna be great throughout. I did get tired of it. Somewhere maybe between halfway through to the second half, it became very, very repetitive and quite predictable, and overall it was like a good time, but at the end I found myself like not caring anymore as much, which was a shame because it still ticked a lot of the boxes. So I think my assumption that it is going to be a 5-star was actually very based in a lot of signs that I've seen while reading that first chapter, and the themes overall. And I wonder if it was quite influenced by my mood, perhaps, but it was a bit too much of the same joke all over. But I did thoroughly enjoy the first half of it. I regretfully didn't love the rest, which is why I've not continued with the series, and I don't know if I will. In theory, this should have been 5. It didn't end up being 5. I think it was either 4 or 3 that I rated it at the end.
So we're gonna go ahead and check this one out. I noticed the most was that I did not know who's who. I feel like we just really dropped into this scenario as if it's in the middle of the book and we're supposed to know what's happening. But of course, with time, I'll know who's who. And even by the end of the first chapter, which is like 16 pages, I understood a bit more of what's happening. So basically,
it wasn't confusing at all. Apparently it was at the beginning, but this is not a complex book. It was a very clear main cast, and it was confusing. It was not. It was many things, but confusing it was not.
Person, which always is a weird choice in my eyes. Like, I understand.
I still very much prefer a third person, and I'm yet to kind of find people who prefer the first person, which makes me question why so many books are written in first person. I mean, I know and I can speculate as to why,
some of the advantages, but I, as a reader, usually enjoy the third person a bit more. It always takes me a little bit to get into it rather than a third person. It comes a bit more natural to me. I found this first chapter very atmospheric, possibly can go either way, but I think I'm gonna, judging from the writing style in the first chapter, I think I'm gonna stick with a 4-star. I don't think I'll lower it.
I actually think I have rated it 4-star at the time. It was a very low 4-star, but I remember enjoying it when I was reading it. And I think stars overall just very much aligned. However, I absolutely lost interest in it, and I have zero intention in continuing the series, especially since I've heard not so great things about the second one. So that's a little bit of a shame. Far, I think most of my predictions are correct. Wait, no. Literally I had 2 and one of them was correct. But this one is correct, so yay for me.
So even the dark has stars for the 4-star prediction, okay. And obviously The Way of Kings Part 1. I think I'm gonna drop to 3 stars as a prediction because first of all, it just...
So, I wonder if this is actually going to be a... trend, whereas when I read the first chapter and didn't like it, I never went and actually read the book. So for that one I still have, and I do want to eventually read because I have heard some great things about it. I do remember reading this and really not enjoying the writing style, I think, mainly, and it's a shame, but I do still have this one, but I have not picked it up since, so it might have deterred me from reading it at that point.
The book 1, then I see here it says 4,500 years later. So Obviously, this is not supposed to be very informative, but it is quite intriguing. As I said, I was pretty confused, but I was kind of expecting that way.
Okay, The Way of Kings. I 100% continue to be confused for quite a long time. There are a lot of kind of false beginnings to this book. I ended up really enjoying it though for the rest of this first part, and I'm hoping to read the second part this year, which is many years later.
Very atmospheric already, even though this was like 5 pages. And I'm excited. As I said, I'm not going to change my rating, my guess for this one.
If I were to rate the first half, it would have been a 4 stars, but I am gonna just kind of wait until I read the second one to have a full picture, obviously. But it was the beginning that was the hardest, and once I really got into it, I was really intrigued and enjoying it. And you know, but this is a massive series that's gonna have like 10 books, so it's really doing the legwork. And I'm a lazy person. I don't enjoy leg days, so that is the reason for a drop in the star. Not necessarily a book's fault, but it's also not my fault, you know? So I don't feel too bad about thinking it's around like 4 stars, but I will get to the second part and I will update you on that one.
Okay, so the first chapter of Truth Witch is about 2 girls getting in trouble.
Not sure if I dropped it. I think I might have, because I remember not liking the action-packed first chapter. I hate when we start with an action. It's my pet peeve. And I've not touched it since. And actually now, in 2022, I have no intention on reading the series, so I believe that I have on hold this.
On then to the 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. This book, excuse my stuck reading or fun. TBR, so for now, not a 5-star, but a 4-star. Okay.
And it was actually a 4-star, so I did say it was hard to judge, and it honestly is one of those very confusing books until like you get later on, so I don't blame myself, and that confusion did continue for a bit. It wasn't necessarily the reason for 4 stars though, but it was 4 stars.
For Alloy of Law, and this one is
I forgot that this was here.
Recommendations, and the first sentence is...
But I've not read it yet. I do have very high hopes for this, and I don't think I've lowered it.
Anyway, there's The Humans, and
Ooh.
It's by Matt Haig, and
this was my number 1 book last year. I think it won like the best overall, so let's see what I thought. I actually don't remember what I thought at all.
First sentence of this, I think I'm gonna go for 4 just because I don't know what to expect. It's written in the first person. It's kind of funny, but it can definitely miss a mark and not be entertaining enough. So I'm gonna go for 4 just to be safe, but hopefully it wouldn't be like any lower than that. But I think 5 is, for this type of book, 5 would have to be really, really great. I don't know how they're gonna like involve me in the story. Will it be something that I see myself through their eyes? Are they actually gonna be like character development within this book? Like, I just don't know enough. Okay, so next up.
Okay, so in my defense, I don't think I've actually read many books like this one at that point, and I really did not know what to expect. And again, we had the first person. It was a first person, which makes this, I will defend. I don't love first person, but in this case, 100% the right choice, because obviously you have first person experience, and the whole thing is a commentary on how humans act, and you are an alien observing these people, so from any other perspective wouldn't make sense, because obviously you're supposed to be shocked and like appalled and, you know, all of those things. It was brilliant. I absolutely adored it. 5 stars for sure. I cannot believe I lowered it. Oh, that's so weird. Okay, but you know, I didn't lower it to a 3.
I'm gonna go ahead and read some Poppy War. This was predicted by me 4 stars. Good news though is that actually this one is getting pumped up to 5 stars. It was one of those that I just really would happily have continued to read. I was sucked into the story so quickly, honestly, 2 pages or something.
Okay, so I do believe it got a 4, but a very high 4. And again, in my defense, the first third of the book was a 5-star level. In my opinion, once we exit the school setting, and even before the school setting, I found it 5 stars. somewhere maybe halfway through, I just enjoyed it less. I didn't, and there was a lot of angst, but I still really, really loved it. And obviously there are scenes inspired from real life events, which I think is important to also include in fantasy sometimes, but it is very heart-wrenching knowing that, which obviously is an intended feeling. So it did that well. There are some things that I didn't love, like the weird like love obsession thingy, and like sometimes the angst went a little bit overboard, but I was just mainly sad that we left the setting we were in, because I thought it really worked for me. It doesn't obviously work for everyone, but it really worked for me. So once I tasted that 5-star vibe, then I felt like it lowered because obviously, you know, we left it. So I had something good going and then it was changed. So I think by nature it lowered for me as well, but it still got, you know, a high 4 stars. So I totally understand my own reasons for thinking it will be 5 at that point though. We have Red Rising for 4 stars, and then the next one is Red Sister for 5 stars. Okay. I'm actually gonna keep this at 4. It's very descriptive. I am, however, intrigued. The main character is a helldiver, which is basically... Okay, I can't remember my thoughts actually. So it's interesting because once I read this, I rated it 5 stars, and then I read the second book, and for the first time in my life, I went back to the first rating and lowered it. I still had a very good time with the first one, and I actually don't remember thinking it was descriptive at all. It was one of the things I actually enjoyed about it. It wasn't too descriptive. So the first chapter was misleading me there. I do remember thinking that he was super immature and annoying from the first chapter, which did continue for a little bit, but we do grow a little bit through the series, which is nice. So I was correct, just not immediately. Like the prologue bit was so poetic in writing, and that is, with me, is such a slippery slope because it can be really good, or more likely and more usually it's just because of that. I'm actually gonna give it a 4-star prediction. So, you know, my hesitations with this, I actually DNF'd it around page 100, I think. I did not vibe with, not necessarily the writing, but the writing was quite like lyrical. I really struggled to care about anything that was happening. I thought it was so draggy. So that is very interesting. So yeah, I definitely lowered it, and I think that was for a reason. Okay, so at the end we had 2 books that were lowered into 3 stars, and I have not read those still, and I don't think I want to. Truth Witch, not gonna read that. The Alloy of Law is in a 4, I think because it was like a steampunk Western thing, and those 2 things are just very, very not my thing. But I actually think it would be a 5 star, so I'm gonna change my opinion on that. 3 books right. From the books that I read, I got 3 books right and 3 books right and 3 books wrong, right? So 50-50, not quite sure. But actually I would love to do another first chapter challenge, so I'm gonna wrap it up here. It was a fun experience looking at this. I hope you guys will enjoy it as well. But I'm going to leave it here and make another video of me reading this again, like the first chapter, and seeing where I'm gonna put them and which books, like just basically do it again. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you with a new video very soon. Bye!